Morning, Harvey. Oh, down here. Good morning. What, I muted it? Oh, now
You're on mute. I can hear you. Oh, Mr. Teddy's here.
Teddy's here.
He didn't light up yet. And he doesn't have his microphone on, nothing.
But he's here.
Yeah, well, he's here. He's here in name only right now.
Literally.
Oh, there he goes. Oh, he finally woke up. There he goes. Put your microphone on.
That better?
Oh, that's better.
That better? Okay.
Now that we heard your voice, put the microphone off. That's enough. Who's missing? Bob's missing. Bob is usually the last in. And then the rabbi will eventually show up. Yeah. Oh, well.
Yes. Basia, Masya, Kasia.
Yeah, right.
Plant that. Why is that in here?
I have no.
Why? Why are we studying that?
Incantations are incantations.
Mazakazakasha? Uh-oh. Here we go. Here we go. This is you know who. This is Larry. This is Larry checking up to see if it's working. He doesn't stay. He won't be. He'll be gone, but as soon as Ken comes on. I want to know whoever used the Mazakaza, Kaja, whatever, in everyday Hebrew language.
You're not supposed to use that. They say we don't know how to use those incantations.
Oh, you're right.
But you got to be very careful. You might say that, and you know, I would disappear. Well, right from the screen, you know.
Or you might really grow horns in a tail.
Where are we up to?
Oh, yeah, right. Let's see. I'll let you know. Oh, God. How about the Gemara on page 68A1? I think that's where we're up to, the Gemara, right at the top.
He didn't come in.
Yeah, he did the Mishnah.
You did the Mishnah?
We did the Mishnah, and that's where we ended. Right, on next page, 68A1, which is...
Bromberg isn't here, the rabbi.
Okay.
Now we need the instructions.
Oh, Mr. Bromberg finally decided to join us.
Finally. How are you, Harvey?
I'm not bad. Can't complain.
Good. Okay. You could complain if you wanted to.
Yeah. Hi, Bob.
Hi. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, all. Good morning.
Good morning, Teddy.
The line I heard is it only pays to complain to somebody who can do something about it.
That's Harvey.
Otherwise-
Complain to Harvey.
Oh, thank you.
Harvey's the only one. Harvey's the only one who can do anything about it.
Everything.
No. Ted's got a special friend who loves to contact him and doesn't realize he's no longer there.
Ted, I'm going to complain to you. I can't get toilet paper, Ted.
Oh, I can show you. I know where to get it. BJ's has loads of it.
Oh, yeah?
Loads. They have a whole aisle just with toilet paper and paper towels.
Who knew?
I go to the clubhouse and I take a...
A roll. That's why they don't let people in the bathrooms anymore.
Oh, I thought that's what they are. It's open so you can use the bathroom. That's what I thought.
Yeah, but they search you on the way out.
Morning, Rabbi.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Now that I got my stimulus, I can use dollar bills.
Ah,
Ah,
you're so funny, Bob.
Yeah, okay. Okay, let's get to work here.
Okay, goodbye.
Rabbi, you hear us?
Have to go out at 10 o'clock.
I hear everyone.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay, we'll get underway. Okay. Hope everybody had a nice Lag BaOmer, enjoyed music or whatever. Okay. I found the Amud, the daf today a little bit difficult. I'll do the best I can in trying to explain it. We saw that the Mishnah started the new parak indicating that there were a number of aspects to this general principle, okay? Number one, it was a question of forgetting the essence of what Shabbat is. Okay? Number two, okay, there was an aspect of knows what Shabbat is, but again, did multiple labors on multiple Shabbatot, okay, and therefore obligated on a chatat for each labor, okay. We saw there was also another example that if one performed a, let's call it a primary labor, an av melacha, okay, on that situation, okay, again, we're going to see that the Mishnah ended with a statement, again, doing a variety of labors under the same category, let's say, of that primary labor. Okay, in that case, one would only have to bring a single chatat. Okay? Now, as we go into today's Gemara, we're going to deal with number one, a language question of the Mishnah. And number two, we're going to deal, excuse me, with a conceptual question. Language question is why does our Mishnah start off saying here that it's a general or a great principle? Does it say that in other Mishnayot or not? And why here? What does it imply from here? Second of all, conceptual question. If you say that somebody forgets the essence of Shabbat, what does that mean? One forgets that Shabbat exists, there is such a concept as Shabbat? Do you say, well, they may know that such a concept exists, but I don't know what the prohibitions are in regarding to that event, that Shabbat? Or maybe even if I know conceptually that there are prohibitions for Shabbat, okay, do I know what those prohibitions are in the sense of what punishments that come for those prohibitions? So we have a number of levels, let's call it for the moment. It's the only term I can use, where we're going to have to deal with this question of what's knowledgeable, what's not known, things of that nature, okay? So if we sort of structure it that way, I'm hoping that that will help us clarify the discussion in the Gemara this morning, okay? Samachet Amud Aleph, as we're starting with the Gemara, 3 lines down from the top of the Amud. Gemara asks, Mai Tama Tana Klal Gadol, what's the reason that the Tana states it as a great principle? Ilema Mishum de Kabai Lamitne od klal acher. Okay? If it's because we might say that he wants to teach another principle here, all right? Is that why he says here we have a great principle? Okay. V'gabe shvi'it. But what about the fact that in returns to shvi'it, right? Sabbatical year. Nami mishum dekaveh lemitne od klal acher. There also we find that they use the term a great principle, okay? Is it because they want to teach another principle as well? Okay, Tana klal gadol, that's why they taught great principle. Vaha, okay, but here, in this case, gabi ma'aser. What about the example of ma'aser? Okay, don't we have a situation there where, okay, the katani klal acher, where they do teach another principle, velo tani klal gadol, but there they don't teach it, starting its discussion with great principle or major principle. Okay? Amar Rabbi Yossi bar Avin. This is Rabbi Yossi bar Avin trying to give an explanation why the text used the phrase great principle or primary principle, right? Shabbat ushvi'it de'it boho avot v'toledot. Regarding the Sabbath and the example of Shvi'it, they are structured both with primary categories, we'll call that the avot, and toledot, and derivatives. Tana gadol. That's why he taught here that there was a great principle. Maaser, deleit be avot v'toledot. But regarding tithing, where we say there are not primary categories and derivatives, lo tane klal gadol. That's why they did not teach a great principle. Okay, now we get to another perhaps explanation. The bar kapara, and as far as bar kapara, the tane klal gadol b'maaser, okay, where bar kapara did learn, okay, regarding tithes, that there was a great principle. My avot umay toledot ika. What then primary categories and what derivatives exist in regard to tithing? El lav hainu tama. But surely there has to be some sort of a reason, okay, a basis for him that that idea that klal gadol, great, was associated with Shabbat. Okay, so he's going to give a different answer. Okay, his answer: gadol ansho shel Shabbat, yoter mishel shvi'it. Namely, that the punishment in regards to Shabbat is greater than the punishment in regards to, okay, Shvi'it. The ilu Shabbat, ita bein betalush, bein b'mechubar. Okay, that with regards to Shabbat, there is limitations or restrictions, whether the item is produce that's detached or produce that is still growing and attached to the ground. The ilu shvi'it, but in regards to shvi'it, betalush leta, the mechubar ita, with regards to that has been already separated from the ground, there is no prohibition, okay? But in regards to items that are still growing, that there is, okay? Furthermore, says the Gemara, the gadol ansha shel shvi'it yoter min hama'aser. And if we're talking about severity of punishment, as the criteria for what is a greater principle, lesser and still lesser. And we said Shabbat is greater than Shvi'it, and Shvi'it is even greater than Ma'aser. Why? Because we find the following. The ilu Shvi'it, ita bein b'ma'achal adam, bein b'ma'achal behema. That in regards to Shvi'it, the prohibitions apply whether it's regarding a foodstuff for a person or a foodstuff for an animal. Okay? Whereas ve'ilu ma'aser, b'ma'achal adam ita, b'ma'achal behema leta. Whether it applies for a human, but doesn't apply for ma'aser prohibitions to animal food. So the Gemara now continues. Ula bar kapara, and as far as bar kapara's principle, let's say, or rationale for why it's called Datani Klal Gadol b'Maaser, as to why we could say that in regards to Maaser, he also teaches that there is a great principle connected with Maaser. All right? Gadol b'Maaser, Gadol ansho shel Maaser, yoter mishel pe'ah. That the prohibitions regarding tithes is greater than anything in regards to pe'ah. De ilu Maaser, ita b'te'ena, v'yerek, that in regards to tithing, these prohibitions apply whether we're talking to, let's say, te'ena, figs, or yerek, vegetables, whereas pe'ah, ilu pe'ah, leta b'te'ena v'yerek, we do not apply the prohibitions or the rules, okay, of pe'ah to fig or to vegetables. Why? It's none. Because we find that we learned in a Braita, Klal amru b'pe'ah, that a general principle was stated in regards to pe'ah, kol shahu ochel v'nishmar, so long as it's a foodstuff, okay, and it has to be protected, guarded, v'gidulo min ha'aretz, and it's grown from the ground, right? V'likitato ke'achat, and it's also collected for storage at one time. Umachniso l'kiyum, and therefore it has to be put in storage. All of these criteria, chayav b'pe'ah, okay, apply to pe'ah. Ochel, we said that it had to be foodstuff. Lema'ute sfiche satis v'kotze. That excludes, okay, things like certain plants that are used for dyes, or certain other plants like madder that's only used for animal food. V'nishmar, okay, when we say it's got to be guarded, preserved. Lema'ute hefker, that excludes anything that is simply left for hefker, for ownerless property. V'gidulo min ha'aretz, and that it's grown from the earth. Lema'ute kmehin upitriot, that excludes truffles or mushrooms. They grow underground. V'lekitato ke'achat, and we say it has to be gathered and harvested at one time. Lema'ute te'ena, that excludes figs, because figs from a tree are not harvested all at one time, but as the figs ripen, they are harvested. So the top of the tree may be harvested first, middle of the tree later, bottom of the tree still later. Umachniso l'kiyum, and we say it has to be brought in, right, for preservation. Lema'ute yerek, that excludes vegetables, right? Because with regards to vegetables, they can be consumed while they're still fresh, right? Ve'ilu gabe ma'aser, whereas in regards to tithes, we learn Tanan, the following, Klal, a general principle, Amru b'ma'aser, Kol shahu ochel, so long as it's regarding a food stuff, V'nishmar, and it's again guarded, V'gidulo min ha'aretz, and it is grown from the earth, Chayav b'ma'aser, and that means it's subject, it's obligated in ma'aser. Ve'ilu lekitato ke'achat u'machniso lekiyum, but as regards to its being harvested, let's say, gathered at one time, or collected and put into storage, lo tanan, that is not taught for items in regards to tithing. Okay? So for Gabar Kapara, there is a Klal Gadol for Maaser, okay? And that's why he would hold that a different operative principle, why Klal Gadol is used in some sections and not in others. Okay, let's go on now. Rav Ushmoel, the Amrei Travayu. Okay, so Rav and Shmuel now going to try to apply conceptually under what circumstances might we say that our Mishnah is applicable, that somebody would never know or not know the essential concept even of Shabbat. Okay, Rav and Shmuel the Amrei Travayu, that the two of them say, Matnitin betinok shenishba lebein hanachrim. Our Mishnah is dealing with a situation of a child who is taken captive among Gentiles. V'ger shenitgayer lebein hanachrim, or somebody who was a convert and converted while they were among Gentiles. So it's possible they would never have learned any of the laws of Shabbat. This is a little bit problematic, of course, because all of the Rishonim say, how can you convert somebody, okay, and never teach them anything about the concepts of Shabbat, okay? Levasof shachach, okay? I'm sorry, aval hikir, okay? But what happens, okay? But originally knew, okay, some of these concepts, levasof shachach, and ultimately, okay, right, forgotten. Chayav al kol Shabbat for Shabbat. That person then must bring a chatas for each and every Shabbat that they do some sort of work. Okay? In other words, knowing that the sanctity of Shabbat exists, but forgetting on each individual Shabbat that that's the case. Tnan, and we have a Mishnah that teaches something else already. Hashocheach ikar Shabbat, one who forgets the essential aspect, okay, or law of Shabbat. Lav miklau dahavye le yedi'ah mi'ikara. Isn't it possible that he knew it originally? Lo, no, says the Gemara. Mai kol hashochech ikar Shabbat. What do we mean when we say that one forgets the essence or the essential law of Shabbat? Dahaita shachuach mimenu ikara shel Shabbat. That he forgot the very essence, the very existence of Shabbat. Aval hikir ulavasof shachach. But that ultimately, what happens, okay, that we say that he knew and subsequently forgot that he is liable, Okay? Right? So the Gemara asks, Shmai, okay, what do we mean by that? Okay. Chayav al kol Shabbat v'Shabbat. Do we say then that he is liable for each and every Shabbat? Adatani, hayodea ikar Shabbat. Okay? If that's the case, that instead of saying in our Mishnah that, okay, that our Mishnah is teaching that one who knows the essence of Shabbat and does va'asam lachot harbe b'Shabbatot harbe, and does multiple labors on multiple Shabbatot, chayav al kol echad Shabbat v'Shabbat, is obligated on each Shabbat v'Shabbat. Litnei, then maybe our Mishnah should have taught it this way. Hikir, that one recognized the essence of Shabbat, ulevasof shachach, and afterwards forgot it, the kol shekain ha. And certainly in this case, okay, if, all right, as we say, if he had our case here, that if he never knew. So the Gemara asks the following question then. Okay? All right. Mai hayodea ikar Shabbat. What do we mean when we say he knows the essential law of Shabbat? Mi shahaya yodea ikara shel Shabbat v'shachacha. Do we mean it's one who knew the existence of Shabbat and basically forgot it? Okay, let's go over to Haval lo shachacha mai. But if he didn't forget it, okay, then what is it? Chayav al kol melacha umlacha. He would be obligated for each and every labor. Adatani, based on the fact that our Mishnah teaches, hayodea shahu Shabbat, that he knows what is Shabbat, va'asam lachot harbe b'Shabbatot harbe, and he carried out many labors on many Shabbatot. Chayav al kol melacha melacha. It says that he's obligated on each and every melacha. Litnei, maybe instead our Mishnah should have taught, hayodea ikar Shabbat v'kol shekain ha, that he knows the essence of Shabbat, and all the more so in our situation here too. Ella, rather, says the Gemara, this is what it refers to. Matnitin keshehikir levasof shachach. Our Mishnah must then be dealing with a situation that he is aware of what the essence, the original law or concept of Shabbat is, and ultimately forgot it. V'Rav u'Shmuel, nami kehikir levasof shachach dami. And when Rav and Shmuel said what they did, it's also a situation where the person is aware, recognizes the essential essence, law of Shabbat, and ultimately also forgot it. Vahachi kamar. And therefore, this is what we mean to understand what they were saying. Okay? Rav u'Shmuel the Amrei Travaihu, that Rav and Shmuel both maintain together. Afilu tinok shenishba bein hanachrim. Even a child who was taken captive among Gentiles. V'ger shenitgayer levein hanachrim. And a convert who converted among Gentiles. Kihikir ulevasof shachach dami is like someone who was aware of the essence of Shabbat, okay, but ultimately forgot. The chayav, and therefore that person is obligated. Now, V'Rabbi Yochanan, V'Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, but Rabbi Yochanan and Shimon ben Lakish, the Amrei Travayu, they, however, maintain the following. Davka hikir ulevasov shachach, particularly only a situation where one knew the essence and ultimately forgot. Aval, but tinok shenishba bein hanachrim, a infant that was captive and raised among Gentiles. V'ger shenitgayer levein hanachrim, but a proselyte, a convert who was converted among Gentiles, patur, that person would be exempt. Right? Now, Mei Tivei, the Gemara raises a challenge from a Braita. Right? Klal Gadol Amru b'Shabbat. A Braita teaches the following, that a great principle, or a significant principle, is stated in regards to Shabbat. Kol hashocheach ikar Shabbat, whoever forgets the essence, the essential origin or concept, really, or law of Shabbat, va'asa melachot harbeh b'Shabbatot harbeh, and did many labors on multiple Shabbatot, eino chayav ele echat, okay, is not found chayav, obligated to bring a chatas, except one, right? Keitzad, says the Gemara. Okay, how is that possible? Right? Tinok shenishba levein hanachrim, a child that had been a captive among Gentiles, v'ger shenitgayer bein hanachrim, okay, a convert, again, converted among the Gentiles, va'asa melachot harbeh b'Shabbatot harbeh, and he did many labors and many Shabbatot, eino chayav ela chatat echat. Okay, he's not liable except for one chatas, one sin offering. V'chayav al hadam echat. Okay, and he's also only chayav in regards to one act of blood. Okay, eating blood, for example. Va'al hachelev echat, or one act of eating chelev, right? Va'al avodah zara achat, or one act of idolatry. In other words, in these cases, okay, if he did, this kind of person would only have to do, even if they committed multiple occasions of eating blood or eating chelev or worshiping idols, okay, that individual would only have to bring a single chatas and not multiple chatas. Okay, umun baz poter, and munabaz, okay, exempts the person. Okay? So we now see, okay, a third level argument. Okay, one, a statement of Rav and Shmuel. A second, a different view by Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. And now we're coming to a third example of an argument on this issue.
What's the difference between Rav and Shmuel and Shimon ben Reb Shimon?
Okay, Rav and Shmuel would say that the person, that the tinok or the convert would have to bring multiple chatat offerings. Okay, Shmuel, Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish would say no. That person in that situation would only have to bring one. Okay. Now, we get to another example. Umun baz poter. Munbaz would exempt the person totally. Now, v'kach haya Munbaz dan lifnei Rabbi Akiva. So we see who Munbaz's Baal Plugta was. It was none other than Rabbi Akiva. Right? And this is the next argument. All right? So, and this is how Munbaz argued his position before Rabbi Akiva. Okay? It's a question if one has prior knowledge. Right? Ho'il umezid karui chote. Since somebody who transgresses the law willfully, okay, is called a sinner. V'shogeg karui chote. Okay, and one who also unwittingly, okay, transgresses the law is called a sinner. Okay, the question is, do they have prior knowledge? Ma mezid shahaita lo yedi'ah, whereas the person who wittingly transgressed had some sort of knowledge. Af shogeg shahaita lo yedi'ah. So likewise, it must imply that the one who committed it unwillingly has some level of knowledge. So in other words, he had some sort of prior knowledge. Okay. Amar lo Rabbi Akiva, says Rabbi Akiva, Hareini mosif al dvarecha. I'm going to add to your words. A ma mezid shahaita yedi'ah b'shat ma'aseh. The person who transgressed wittingly, okay, had knowledge during the performance of the act. Okay? Af shogeg shahaita lo yedi'ah b'shat ma'aseh. So likewise, the person who may have transgressed unwittingly, also must have had some knowledge during the committal of the act. Amarlo. Okay. So what happens? Right? Munbaz replies back to him, Hain, b'kol shekain shehosafta. True, he says, and all the more so that you are added to the argument. Amarlo. Okay, and Rabbi Akiva then responds back to him. B'davrecha. Then according to how you, okay, have explained it, ein ze karui shogeg. That then means that we can't consider that somebody who committed an act unwittingly, elamazed, but rather it must be an act that was committed wittingly. In other words, only one can be considered unwittingly if he forgot the essence of the act. Did not have any knowledge about it. Okay? Katani miha. Nevertheless, okay, our Mishnah teaches Ketzad Tinok. How then do we explain it in regards to this child? Okay, Bishlema l'Rav Ushmuel Necha. That's acceptable according to the view of Rav and Shmuel. Okay, because Rav and Shmuel then clearly understand it, that one who unwittingly forgot the essence of Shabbat, therefore, that's where they say that he would be chayav. Ela l'Rabbi Yochanan l'Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish kasha. But for them, there's still a difficulty. Amrei lach, Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish would say to you, right? Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish, lo, right? No, that's not the case. Mi ika Munbaz de patar, right? What about, isn't there Munbaz who said that person would be totally exempt. Anam de amrinan kin munbaz. We hold and rule just like Munbaz does. That in the situation of the tinok or the convert who has no awareness of the existence or the essence of Shabbat, okay, how can you hold that person obligated? And so therefore, like Munbaz, we could say that person should be exempt because they don't even have any concept of Shabbat. So how can you hold them responsible? Okay, only when somebody has a concept of Shabbat can you say, therefore, maybe if they forgot it and then carried it out, that's when they are responsible. Okay, and then you get to the next step. Well, did they forget just that Shabbat? And they did multiple laws, multiple labors under a similar category on that Shabbat? Or did they forget every time there was Shabbat? Things like that. So let's go on. My Tama de Munbaz, what then was the basic rationale that Munbaz held? Dichtiv, why? Because a pasuk says, Torah echat yelechem le'oseh bishgaga. You shall have one law for him that does it unwittingly. V'samichle, and juxtaposed to that is another pasuk. V'hanefesh asher ta'aseh biyad ramah. Okay? And the soul that does it with a high hand. In other words, implying that he does it wittingly. Ma mezid shahaita lo yediyah, says Munbaz, the same way that one who performs it wittingly must have some awareness, some knowledge. Of shogeg shahaita lo yediyah. So likewise, then someone who performs it unwittingly also must have some sort of awareness or knowledge. The Rabbanan, and what about the rabbis? Hai Torah echat, mai avdele. How do they understand then this verse? Okay, that says, that you have, one law for one who does it unwittingly. Mibayin lahu, they require it, l'kedemakre le Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi lebre. The way they require it, the way Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi taught his son, okay, namely, Torah achat yelechem le'oseh bishgaga. Okay, that when a Torah teaches that you should have one law for him that does something unwittingly, u'ketiv, we got to roll over a little bit. U'ketiv v'ki tisgu v'lo ta'asu et kol hamitzvot ha'elu, that when you make a mistake, right, and you don't observe these commandments, right, u'ketiv, and then it's also written, v'hanefesh asher ta'aseh biyad ramah, and then another pasuk, the soul that does these things, okay, with a high hand, in other words, wittingly, that soul will be cut off. Ukshu kulam avodah zara. Okay, they identified all of them with the practice of idol worship, namely, malahalan davar shechayavin al zdono karet, namely, where there is something for which a obligation of witting act, the punishment is going to be karet, shigagato chatat, and a unwitting act is punishable by bringing a chatas. Af kol davar shechayavin al zdono karet va'al shigato chatat. And so likewise, any other kind of willful transgression that's punishable by karet. So it's accidental, let's call it, unwitting transgression is to be punished by bringing a chatas. Okay? Ve'ela munbaz. But regarding to munbaz, shigagam b'mai, when is it occur that it's an unwilling transgression, an unwitting transgression? Kigon sheshogeg bekorban. It's a situation when one does not have the knowledge in regards to the appropriate sacrifice. That's a situation of lack of knowledge. And we're going to stop right there. Okay? Okay? So I think we're going to, as we continue tomorrow, we'll see that the Gemara tries to clarify again, what is this issue of ignorance? Okay? If we've said that it applies, doesn't apply to, or let me rephrase that. Does it apply to somebody who has no concept of the existence of Shabbat and the essential law? Does it apply to somebody who may have had a concept but simply forgot? Okay? Or does it apply to that the person doesn't know the prohibitions, what's prohibited or not? Okay? Or does it apply that the person doesn't know what the punishments are for committing those prohibitions? That's the best I can do in trying to get us to understand the Gemara. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Thank you. Be well,
Have a-
everyone.
Have a good day, everybody. Stay healthy.
Thank
Take
Ed,
care.
give me a call when you get a chance.
Me?
Yeah,
Okay,
when you get a chance afterward.
okay.
All right,
Okay,
bye-bye.
bye-bye.